Good evening. I'm Dr. Mitchell Palmer McDonald, and we are here today I'm hosting MSR Business, and we have some very interesting people that you're going to meet during this show, and we hope to have a real good conversation. Could you all introduce yourselves, please?
Absolutely. My name is Carter CasaDeCalvo. I work at Project for Pride and Living as the homeownership and financial coaching manager there.
Okay.
I've also been in the real estate business for about 5 years now as well.
5.
hmm
Okay.
hmm
Lance Elliott, Community Development Mortgage Officer for Frandsen Bank and Trust. I've been in the business about 15 years
15
now.
years. Yeah. Welcome back, Lance. Welcome back.
Hi, my name's Andria. I'm a first-time home buyer. I currently do HR at a transportation company.
Oh, okay. All
Mhm.
right. Well, let's get started. You're first time homeowner, right?
Yeah.
Now, what was that process like? And well, how did you first feel when you kind of like signed the papers and it's like it's your house?
It didn't feel real.
Okay,
So it took a
okay.
little adjusting to
Mhm,
do, but it also felt like really good that it was over because there was so much paperwork, so
mhm,
much, but we need one more thing. We need one more thing.
mhm.
So once it was done, I was like, finally, it's done. I'm actually a homeowner.
Okay, all right. Now, who helped you? Who helped you?
Lance helped
Okay.
me as my lender,
Hmm.
and I actually got connected with Lance through my realtor, Jordan Etherton.
Okay, all right. Now, was there any kind of a reasoning going into buying the house? You just wanted a house, or was it to help other people, or?
Yeah, it was honestly, I wanted to be a homeowner for myself, but
Hmm.
also my aunt and my grandmother were renting, and I had moved in with them when I moved back from Philly. So I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna be homeowners. Like, I gotta
Okay.
do this. So I moved my grandmother and my aunt in.
Okay. All right. Now, you've been in the business 5 years, you said?
Yep. So real estate 5 years and working with PPL for about two now.
Okay. Now, how did you get into that business?
That's a great question. I was after college kind of working random jobs.
Hmm.
Wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to make an impact somewhere.
Hmm.
During COVID, I actually learned a lot more about the diversity gap within homeownership.
Okay.
And that's what prompted me to get my real estate license.
Hmm.
So after I got my real estate license, I started practicing. I loved it, except that I don't feel like I am the best salesman.
Hmm. Hmm.
I really am about the relationship building aspect of it, not as much of the let's get all these deals done. So as I was going through that, I started to learn about organizations that do the advising piece and the coaching piece of let's bring in these people that are wanting to become homeowners and let's help them through that process, right? We are a non-biased third party that can just be there as support and a resource. So once I learned about that, that really kind of intrigued me because it's still in the space of homeownership. We're still doing that great work of closing that diversity gap.
Hmm.
But there's not as much pressure of, I need to do this to make a paycheck.
Uh, so you said that it's about the relationships.
hmm
So it's more about the relationships than just I got to make this sale.
hmm
So I guess how important is that? Is I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
I mean, I think it's extremely important. A huge part of buying a home is being vulnerable, especially with your finances. And that's a big hurdle for anybody to have to overcome.
Oh yeah.
To have people really having like a microscope on you and just
Oh yeah.
watching you.
Mhm.
So I think that trust building is huge, and that comes with building that relationship. So that's what I really enjoy about the work I do.
Okay. Is it has it been hard or has it been smooth sailing, a little bit in between?
I think that there's always going to be hurdles with anything that you
Mhm.
do. I think the passion behind the job really makes that like any hurdle is we can overcome it.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's the work that's necessarily hard. I think it's kind of navigating the systems.
Okay.
right? Down
Mm,
payment assistance,
mhm.
helping people build their credit, helping people in certain different aspects. Navigating those systems are what's more of the challenge than the relationship building piece.
Now, when you think about, and I'll ask all of you this:
Mhm.
was is home ownership, how can I say, intimidating? Like when you're okay, I'll say it like this. You're trying to help people,
Mhm.
and of course you are too. And you just bought a home. Like, was there any type of like, man, like I'm about to purchase a house. Like, so is there an intimidating factor that maybe makes it a little bit more difficult to convince people that home ownership is the way to go?
Let's ask Andrea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was very intimidating. I'm a first time homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
So like my mother didn't own a home, my
Okay.
father didn't own a home,
Okay.
but my grandmother and my grandfather did. And back
Mm-hmm.
in that time, mainly my grandfather did, you know?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So who do I ask? Where do I go for the resources to figure out if this is something I can even do?
Okay. Yeah.
So that part is really intimidating, but I had a really good team,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're like, no, it's completely doable. So then having my finances in order, making sure my credit was good was something that I could control.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I wanted to be a homeowner, so I stayed on top of that with my savings and making sure I paid my credit card off.
Yeah.
So that by the time I actually had my financial advising with
Mm-hmm.
Carter, she's like, oh, you're good to go. So,
No, because yeah, I asked that question because it is very intimidating, and I've refinanced a couple of times. That's even intimidating because you're kind of going right back to where you started.
mm,
But I always saw that some of my friends are you know they're renters, and they'll go like, man, what are you paying all that money for? And when you should, why are you investing in that when you don't, how can I put it, where they don't have to worry about anything, and I'm taking care of the house and all of that. But what I did like was the privacy. It's mine. If you have a good set of neighbors, it's even better. And then once they saw that, now they're all homeowners now because they came and saw how I was living, and they all took the step. So I say that to say that it is very important about relationships and then about the reasons why, because it is intimidating, particularly in the black community. It's very
Yeah.
intimidating. Some people would rather rent.
yeah.
Yeah, well, when you bring up the intimidation factor, particularly in the black and brown community,
Mm-hmm.
there's not a lot of pass down. You
Right.
know,
Right.
like
You
like
just you just
you'll
you just
skip a
said it.
generation, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe no one in your family has owned a home.
Yes.
So there's not that comfort level of just hearing stories of
Mm-hmm.
what was the process, or what was good about it, or what was challenging about it.
Yes.
So it becomes something that is an unknown.
Yeah.
And if you don't have access to folks that can answer those questions for you,
Mm-hmm.
it may not even be something you consider.
Yeah.
So that's why nonprofits like PPL are so important,
Mm-hmm.
because what they do is first of all, they're in the community.
Right.
They're helping in different areas, not just home ownership.
Right.
So that's a benefit that someone utilizing PPL's
Mm-hmm.
resources learns along the way. Like, not only did you guys help me get a job or find some housing, you're teaching me how to become a homeowner,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm getting it from people that I'm around on a regular basis. So it's comfort to hear it from them.
Yeah.
And that's why, whenever I get a new client or someone that, has those, intimidations,
Yeah. I was wondering about that.
yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll say, hey, I'll send them to the nonprofit and say, go there, take the home stretch class. You'll learn some things about being a homeowner. That class is good for a year. Some people take it again just because they like it so much. They
Mm-hmm.
learn so much. So that's like step number one that
Right.
I do for first time home buyers.
Right.
And then, if sometimes I'm teaching the class too. That's the bonus. Like, if my client, they're like, hey, I'm such and such, you met on the phone. You're like, oh, okay, good, we met.
Yeah.
But now we have something to talk from.
Mm-hmm.
They know where to ask questions. Because it can be so intimidating, you don't even know where to begin to ask a question.
Right.
So now they're like, well, I heard this in class. Well, what happens if this is the case? Or what happens if my situation is X, Y,
Right.
Z? And you get that a lot in the class. It's like, everybody's situation is unique.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you some basic ground rules, but then we got to look at your situation, exactly where you are,
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you might need to do to get ready.
Yeah.
So that's big, relieving that intimidation. Making them feel comfortable, making them feel like, oh yeah, I can do this. So that by the time you sit down with an advisor, they're like, oh, you've already done everything. How rewarding was that? And that's because either you had an idea of what you needed to do to be ready, or somebody gave you that idea.
Mm.
So by the time you came to the I always say, your credit is like a snapshot. You know,
Oh yeah.
I can tell you that I'm going to take the picture, or I can just catch you candid. And she came ready. She knew she had a portrait, got the hair and nails done, and she was ready. And that's what we try to do. We try to get borrowers ready to present themselves, so that they're not asking a whole lot of questions or not understanding what we're telling them we need them to do.
Well, what's real cool about what you just said and what you described is that you work together with people to help people become homeowners, and then we see that. I didn't see that when I bought my house. I didn't see that, at all. I think it was because I think my dad was just so in a hurry to sell it to me.
Okay.
But there was, I had no idea. I was in my 20. I had no idea what I was doing at all. And my parents owned their. I lived pretty much my life in an owned home. But I was just living. I'm a kid, teenager,
Yeah.
just living. I'm not thinking about taking care of it or anything. I'm thinking about getting an apartment. And I will say this: thank goodness, as I look back, with all the trials and tribulations, thank goodness I made that purchase, because I almost didn't. But it is a satisfying feeling. That's why I asked you that question of how it felt. And then you're a new homeowner, right?
I am.
Huh? That's cool.
Yeah.
You're in the business and everything, and then now you can say, right. You can walk the walk, right?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you're sitting there and going like, do you own a home? Then you're like, yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's huge to be able to gain that extra bit of perspective that I didn't have because I haven't gone through it. Have I helped a lot of people into homeownership? Absolutely, but I think
Right.
learned experience is always going to be an asset, right? Yeah.
Now how did that feel? You were helping people, right?
Mhm.
So how did that feel when you started in your process in buying? Where you was it how did you feel? Because you're doing the same thing, and then now you're buying a house. How did that feel?
It felt good. I think for me, it was when you have so much like insight and kind of insider knowledge a little
Yeah.
bit. In some ways, you would think it gives you a step up, but then in some ways, it almost hinders you a little bit because maybe I'm not as trusting of my lender. I know I asked Lance, I was at Lance. I was like, what is this? What is this on this form right here? So, so
You asked a lot of
I
questions.
asked a lot of
Okay,
questions. He
okay.
probably would say too many, but
That's funny.
but it was a good experience to have, to even just like that process of, okay, this is what you're signing, going through closing and seeing what everybody sees.
Mhm.
I'm as a real estate agent, I sit on the other side of the table, but I'm not the one signing the papers, right? So it is different to just do it yourself.
Mhm.
And I think that I can now bring this back to my work as well. And it's not that I didn't have a good set understanding of this world before, but now I just know a little bit more.
And they
Go ahead.
both got the just one more thing line, about a half a dozen times.
Yeah, just one,
Maybe more.
just one more thing. I remember that when I bought a house. It was like
Yes.
one more. I'm like, I signed this. Now one more thing, and I'm like, the papers are this thick, and I'm like, it's better be worth it. All these signatures I'm doing.
Right. I mean, I ask, homeowners and potential homeowners all the time, how many people, I ask this in the class, how many people do you think are involved when you buy a home?
Mhm.
And most say 4, 5. I said, try 20.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and you need everybody to do their job correctly. And some people, you know, they might step on their toes. They might ask you for the same document 2 or 3 times. But just be patient, you know, because they're working for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to, like Andria said, she had a good team.
Yeah.
And that's because, you know, you have to select that team. You're the owner of the team,
Mm-hmm.
but you're picking the head coach and the quarterback
Right.
and the offensive coordinator.
Right.
And then those 3 have to make sure all the players do their job correctly.
Yeah.
But it's an intense process, and it's a lot of paperwork, even in this digital age.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I mean, even when I refinanced, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
man, I want to do this refinance, man. I gotta do all this
It's
paperwork.
like you're buying the house from yourself.
You really are. You know, I went through the whole process again.
Right.
Like we got to. Well, I tried to do it electronically, you know, and then I was like, hey, you got to come over and we got to do this in person.
That's a big one. That's
a huge thing.
I often make house calls, especially for the elderly customers.
Yeah.
Because I know how to, you know, line the paper up, make sure it's well lit to take a good picture.
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you, I get too many screenshots. Screenshots are not the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to teach a class on how to download a PDF.
No, I had problems, and I think it might have been just my computer or whatever. But I just had problems, and then I just said, could you come over?
Exactly.
And can we do it the way I did it like 30 years ago?
Right.
So it did work out. Now, you know, what are some of the, how can I put this? Were there any, did you have any difficulties when you purchased your house? Like, was it a smooth thing, or were there some things that, you know, you ended up kind of, I'm not going to say struggling with, but maybe these are the things that make you go, or anything like that?
I don't think like signing the paper was super smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a lender was challenging. Links was not my first lender.
Okay.
So what I didn't know when my realtor introduced me to the first gen programming, that not everyone can do it.
Okay.
So and I'm working with somebody, she's like, I can't do it. So then I went to a bank,
Mm-hmm.
and then my realtor's like, I got a lender for you. So then I went to Lance, and by that time, I'm like, Lance, you're my third person. And I'm like, can you work with this program? He's like, oh yeah, I got you. And then it was going through the programs and figuring out what I qualified for, what had money for me, what didn't, all these different things. And that was the challenging part, and getting the documents in. But outside of that, it wasn't challenging.
So I guess what you're saying is it you know, for our listeners, it takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's a process, and it takes time. You know, I keep going back to myself, even though you all are being interviewed, but I just thought I was gonna go in there and, you know, give them the check for the down payment, and then I was just gonna walk back out, you know, and then go, hey, to my house. It's kind of like I'm buying like a donut or something. That's what I thought it was gonna be. And so my parents went with me, and I went in and, you know, gave him the check. And, you know, I kid you not, true story. I got up to leave. My mom was like, "Where do you think you're going?" You know, and I was like, "No, we're done. We're not done." You know, and then we sat down, and then that's where I learned all the stuff that I should have known. When they were telling me about just all the different things that I needed to look out for, and I mean, I had a good realtor, you know, that type, because my dad knew him. But I say that to ask you. I say it to ask you this: what are some things that, because you both are new and you're experienced in the business, what are some things that first-time home buyers, or even, I'm not going to say first-time home buyers, just home buyers. Let's even say me. Let's just say I want to buy another house. What are some things I should look for? So what would somebody look for in that? What are some things I should be aware of?
Well, like Andrea just said, you want a lender that can serve your needs. So we have to determine what your needs are.
Okay.
If you're a first-time home buyer in need of some down payment assistance, you want somebody that knows how to navigate that.
Okay.
You want somebody that understands those programs and how you qualify for them, how you get the funds reserved, what are the rules within that program.
Okay.
Because you can easily lose money for your client if you don't follow the rules, and each one has different rules. So it's a real it can be some stormy seas to navigate, especially for somebody who doesn't really understand the process. So you want to know what to ask your lender to make sure you got the right individual. And then you might not mesh, maybe you like to be called every other day and they only want to call you once a month, or vice versa.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's you want to ask questions, and hopefully they're asking you questions, so they know what it is that you need, what it is that you expect, and if they can deliver that. And Carter mentioned, because I forget this is a sales job because it's so much about relationship.
Right.
But so you're going to have people selling you wolf tickets too. That's where whenever I teach a class, I say, ask them, how many first-time home buyers have you helped this year? How many down payment assistance programs do you work with?
Right.
How many of those loans have you closed? And I give them the real, the big questions to ask them, so they know, oh, I can't play with this borrower. This borrower knows what they're talking about. And that's what you want. You want first, you want to have a good lender. Secondly, you want to have a good realtor.
Right.
And sometimes you'll find out how good your realtor is in the process.
Right.
Yes. You can't always tell up front.
No. People talk a good game.
Right. There's only so many questions you can ask without seeing how it really goes.
Yep.
But yeah, those are the two main ones, I think. Good lender, good realtor, and don't be afraid to interview, 2 or 3 each. And I always say, don't be so quick to go with a recommendation from somebody that's already on your team. Like she had Jordan. Jordan and I had recently met when he sent you as a client. And he interviewed me. He made sure, I knew what I was talking about. He might be a guest on the next episode.
Oh, okay. All right.
But generally, I would say, if your realtor or your lender has a referral for one or the other, like, well, I know a guy that can do that, or I know a gal that can handle that for you. Always pick somebody outside of that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to at least ask some questions. Yeah, you don't want same way you don't want your realtor telling you who to use for your inspector. You want to sometimes you want to break those relationships up and find your own.
No, I hear
you. But or at least interview them, at least talk to them and hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
But Jordan and I, we make a good team. When he has someone that it falls into my specialty, then he's quick to say, hey, here's Lance and here's another guy. See which one fits you the best.
Yeah, and I think that's important, that they know that you're a team, and that you're working together for a common cause.
That's right.
And a lot of times, we don't say it, we don't even assume it. We tend to just make certain judgments about things. But in hearing you guys talk, I just like the fact that, it was just kind of like teamwork.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we don't think about that when we think about, housing, home ownership. That doesn't come up. So it's very refreshing for me. I'm still flashing back on my experience, even though it was like 30 years ago. But it's good that people now, and they probably did then, but I probably just wasn't paying attention because I was young. But it's good that people know, and that she knew and found out that there's a team of people that can come together and help you, and there's people that you can recommend through instead of like trying to get it all.
Right.
You're recommending and helping the next person help her, that type of thing. So I just thought that was the teamwork theme is just what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, it's a great point also because of the times we're in.
Yes.
Yes. 30 years ago, 60 years ago. My grandmother was a Jamaican immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Bought a house for $12,000 in Connecticut.
I remember those
You know,
prices.
1954, I think it was.
Oh, man.
I helped her sell it in 2005 for
Mhm.
$550,000. But just that now, with the way that the market is, the way that the prices
Mm-hmm.
are rising way faster than the incomes are,
Yes.
that teamwork that you mentioned is so much more necessary.
Yeah, I think it is. You're right.
Because, I mean, there's so much more to navigate. You know,
Yeah.
the prices of homes, you know, has skyrocketed.
Yep.
So without, you know, some kind of assistance or some kind of program,
Mm-hmm.
then a lot of us, you know, I dare to say nearly half are not going to be able to buy a home.
Buy a home. Yeah.
So to know that those programs are there first,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're not in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
you might not know about these programs. You might not know about first generation down payment assistance.
Mm-hmm.
You might not know about Hennepin County or
Yeah.
Ramsey County.
Yeah.
And like I said, you got to have somebody who knows how to navigate that stuff.
Yeah.
But the teamwork of the nonprofit helping you get the credit together, teaching you what it means to be a homeowner, the good and the bad
Mm-hmm.
of being a homeowner, the responsibilities and the rewards.
Yeah.
of
See,
being a homeowner.
I just
Yeah.
bought a house. That's all I remember.
And I think Andrea can tell you a story about, you know, she got the house and then she had to do some things once she got the house.
Yeah. So
What you have to do? I'm interested in that.
the previous owner had a cat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it didn't smell like cat when I first went there, right?
You got that
It did
right.
not smell like cat at all. Actually, the cat was nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, okay. Went to the basement. I'm like, doesn't smell like cat. It looks nice. And then when I moved in, it was hot, and it smelled like cat.
Wow.
And I had to get new carpet.
Okay.
And had I known that it smelled like cat that bad, I probably would have tried to negotiate new carpet in the basement.
Yeah, before you moved in or bought it. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But the layout was so good and like just perfect for what I needed that I didn't think twice about it.
Man. That's
See,
good.
there's something. You said, what do homeowners need? Like, as a realtor,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that the homeowner might say, can we negotiate that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get some money back to pay for this carpet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what some other things that realtors have to do when it comes to negotiating buying these
Oh.
houses.
Yeah. I want to know what that is. I want to see if it was similar to when I was buying mine.
Yeah.
Can you imagine negotiating with your parents to take some money off?
Oh man, no.
Right.
Are you kidding? When I think back, as bad as they wanted to sell it, I couldn't man, I don't know what my mom would have done if I tried to negotiate.
I want to
Yeah.
talk about some more of that too before the show's over, about
Okay.
buying from family.
Yeah. No, but there's a lot to negotiate. I mean, especially that's a big thing of like the importance of inspections
Mhm.
and getting an inspection done so you know what you're buying.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of the negotiation comes in is
Okay.
do we see something that, you know, might cost us down the line? Can we negotiate that now so that we're not having to pay that up front? Can we get a seller credit for it? There's a lot of back and forth that'll happen for sure.
Man. All I know, like I said, all I know is that I bought it and all this stuff started coming up, and my parents, they moved. So
They were
they
traveling
moved.
the world.
They moved. They moved to North Carolina, and my dad called back and said, how are those gutters coming along? I said, what are gutters? I had no idea what anything. And then he said, am I gonna have to fly in? He flew in. Yeah, I was in my 20s. He flew in to show me everything. Like, this is what you need to do here. This is what you need to do here. And then I ended up being grounded. But the beginning, I was like, I told all my friends, I have a house. That was big because none of my friends did. So, but yeah, buying from family, from my parents, it was a little bit different. Because they practically gave me the house. They didn't want to sell to anybody else. But I want you to talk about that, about buying, buying from family, because can that get a little tricky?
I wouldn't say it gets tricky, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
as we talk about generational
That's
wealth and all
true.
that stuff,
Yeah.
sometimes that is the biggest asset in most cases,
Mm-hmm.
especially in most black families. If you have a home, if
You
you're a
hand it,
homeowner,
kind of hand it
that's the
down.
biggest
That's what
asset,
happened to me.
and you can hand that equity down. Like, you know, you buy a house for 300,000, you have a $250,000 mortgage on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you know you've been there for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So now the house is worth 400,000, and you have
Yes.
a $220,000 mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
That difference, that 180,000, is equity
Mm-hmm.
that I can just give to my child, because I can just sell it for what I owe.
Mm-hmm.
Or in some cases, you know, um, that's what's, you know, it's called non-arm's length,
Okay.
and that is a great tool to use to keep wealth in the family. Because even as a say I'm the child and I'm buying the house from my
Mm-hmm.
parents or my grandparents or my aunt,
Mm-hmm.
I can, you know, I can give her some money back down the road.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
see. I see what you're saying.
I can take out an equity loan
Yeah.
and pay off her debts.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of ways you can use that in the family
Mm-hmm.
to keep that wealth in the family. You know, oftentimes, you know, the homeowners might pass, and then you got to, if there was no will, then you got to go through probate, and now you got to sell that house and split it amongst the siblings,
Mm-hmm.
minus the fees. And
Yep.
is that enough for everybody to become a homeowner? Probably not. But if you know keep the house in the family, and let's make sure we have wills too. I've seen a lot of
Yes.
programs lately talking about, you know, just having a will and testament. Just get a
Just in
basic
case.
one
Mm-hmm.
out the way right away, and then work on layering it and changing it as you get older. But
Mm-hmm.
just so no one else has any say in the assets that you're passing down to your family.
That happened. That happened in my family when my grandmother died, and then nine. My dad was the oldest of nine, so I was like, my mom was like, oh boy, this is gonna this
Nine.
yeah,
Oof.
this is gonna be something, and then he's the oldest, so everybody was looking at him, wondering what to do. Now everything got settled,
Mhm.
but it was just interesting to watch for me, just as a grandson, to watch that process because I didn't even think of it. I was there every summer in Madison, Wisconsin as a kid, and it was grandma's house. I wasn't thinking of anything else. And then when she passed, my dad was like, "We got to figure out what we're gonna do with the house." And that was kind of the first time I even thought of, whoa, what if something happens to my mom and dad?
Right.
So when they approached me to buy it, I bought it. That's what I thought of.
Yeah.
I thought of that, and I'm an only child, so I thought of that and just kind of keeping that going. Then of course my mom said we'll probably be back, and they were.
Right.
They were, but which was a wise decision on her part. And then I look back, it was a wise decision on my part to
Yeah.
just become a homeowner.
Yeah. It's instant stability. You
Mhm.
know, you had
That's
to learn
true.
some things along the way,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's like a rock. You know,
Yes. Yes.
and you're still there, right?
Yes. I'm still. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
still there. Everybody asked all my friends, "You still there?" Everybody
Right.
else had moved around, but no, it's a. I'm in a good neighborhood. And
Mhm.
I grew up there at least for my junior year in high school, and yeah, I I think of downsizing. Then when I look at the prices of
Right.
downsizing, I'm like, that's my mortgage.
Right.
Like how much it costs.
Right.
That's my mortgage. Well,
So
why am I
I'm gonna
doing
pay the
that?
same and get less space.
Right. So I'm sitting there like, yeah, and then my privacy is gone. If I move any, if I get an apartment or even a condo, I'm like, uh, no. So I like it. I'm happy with the purchase. A lot of upkeep, but it's worth it.
Yeah, you've even grown to like the gutters. You talk
Yeah.
about them so much.
Hey, man! I didn't know what those things were, boy, but yeah, yeah.
Well, gutter can mean two different things, you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But no, that just the home ownership, and then realizing how to take care of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's those things, and then buying from family,
Mhm.
very 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 important, and that's what my family does in Madison. So
Right.
that I just kind of felt that a little bit. Or what would you say to someone that wants to get, first of all, someone that wants to buy a home, and then what would you say to someone that would like to get into the business that you all are in?
Hmm.
what would you say to them if they want to? I walk up to you and I go, man, I want to do what you're doing. How do I get started? And then man, I've been renting all this. Man, I want a house. How do I get a house?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can start, but
Yeah, well, in terms of the business aspect,
Mhm.
so two different lanes that I'm in kind of.
Mhm.
For real estate, I mean, as long as you're 18 years old and you go and take the 90-hour courses and you pass your test, you could be a real estate agent. Um, I'd say getting a mentor is super important. I think learning the business from someone who's been in the business, and that's not always handed to you when
Right.
you enter into real estate. On the other side, on the advising side, PPL is a HUD certified agency.
Mhm.
So we just have to get our HUD certification, which is a test, and then we also do continuing education for that. I think all of it can be learned.
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing. All of it can be learned, but I do think you really have to have a passion for it, for sure.
Okay, you have to have a
Hmm.
passion for it. No, I mean, you said something that was interesting when you said you need to find a mentor, and that's not always easy to do
Hmm.
when you're into the business. So when you enter the business, there's no one waiting for you going like this. Hey, I want to help you. Come
Right.
on in. Or yeah, let me. Yeah, I want to be your mentor. No one
Not
does that.
typically in real estate, no.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to have found somebody. It was a friend of my mom's who has been in real estate for a long time.
Okay.
And when I got my license, I was able to join her team
Mm-hmm.
within the brokerage she was at. So I had a built-in mentor. But that's not the same case for everybody. Um, some just go into it solo and they do great. However, I do know of a lot that go into it by themselves and they're like, because the class is one thing, and then when you're actually trying to apply the information and build your own business, that's a different thing because it is your business.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, having somebody there to guide you was
Yeah.
huge for me.
Okay. All right.
I'll double down on that. And I think it's something that our community, especially, needs to get back to, and that's apprenticeship. Just
Mm-hmm.
work under somebody that's done it already.
Mm-hmm.
And even if that means donating some time when you're not
Mm-hmm.
getting paid for it, because you are being paid in the lessons that you're learning,
Mm-hmm.
in the experience that you're gathering. But yeah, just being an apprentice, just watching somebody who is successful and has that passion,
Mm-hmm.
and is doing it, and whatever you can soak up along the way, because it is a big commitment. On the realty side, you're talking, you say
Mm-hmm.
90 hours plus a test.
Yeah.
Um, there's training to be a loan officer. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember how many hours it is, but yeah. So there is a lot that goes into it, and you want to make sure it's something that you're willing to put that time into,
Mm-hmm.
and you have somebody that can help you avoid some mistakes.
Okay.
You know, some mistakes are good because that's how you learn,
Yeah.
but you don't have to make every mistake.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, the mentorship piece is very important because I'm a school teacher, and I'll never forget I never forget when my mom, well, I got approached for a student teacher to work under me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Teachers, we're kind of egotistical, and then we want our own space, man. We don't want nobody invading it. I'm sitting here like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to, I don't want to help it. Nah, no. I don't want nobody invading my space. But I'll never forget what my mom told me because my mom was a teacher. And she looked at me, and I've never turned it down ever since. She looked at me and she said, "Someone helped you,"
Right.
because I had a student teach to get my job. She said,
Exactly.
"Well, someone took you," and I kept on doing this, but I had no comeback. I said, and I was like, yes, ma'am, you're correct. So I understood that, the mentorship. So now someone comes in and they want me to help them, I do it
Right.
just because of those. I still hear those words. Now I want to buy a house. Now, what advice would you give to me if I wanted to buy a house today?
If you want to buy a house today, I would tell you to join a home stretch class.
Mm-hmm.
That is what I would recommend first
Mm-hmm.
because they are knowledgeable. They
Mm-hmm.
will answer questions. It's a long day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you commit your time to something,
Mm-hmm.
it makes you appreciate what you're getting out of it.
Yeah.
Right? So you spend all day in class learning things, and you get an opportunity to ask the questions that people don't ask. What if my credit isn't right? What do I do? What if I don't have any savings, right? A lot of people get gifted by their parents or somebody. I don't have somebody I can ask 20K for. What do I do? Right?
Yeah.
And
I don't either.
so
It might be unanimous.
Yeah.
but you hear stories of that, and I'm like, what do you do?
Mhm.
And you got people in class who are somewhat discouraged and intimidated,
Mhm.
but then the class leaders are like telling you, this is how you do it. It's okay. There's programs out here. I'll help you. And getting that confidence
Mhm.
in buying a house
Yeah.
is important, I think.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll go through that process always questioning, always thinking like, I'm not going to make it. This isn't going to happen because you don't know.
Wow.
So, like Carter said, having somebody, and Lance, having somebody who knows and is proof,
Yeah.
you're ready to trust them and you're ready to trust yourself too.
I'm glad you said that because I wasn't even looking for anybody, and I remember I don't think my parents were either when they bought the house. They were just, of course I wasn't around to buy it, but I don't remember them talking about it, like talking about like how what's gonna happen when I'm with it until I was about to leave. Then they were like, no, you're buying a house. Do you know what you're doing? No, I don't know what I'm
They
doing.
had plans for you.
But they had different plans for me. Thank goodness they did. Is there anything usually when we like wrap things up, ask our guests to say something maybe I haven't asked or talked about, or just give you. And you already gave them plenty of it, but what we call pearls of wisdom. It's just something that you would want the listeners to take with them from this podcast right here.
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing is knowing that places like PPL exist, that organizations exist to assist you in this journey.
Okay.
We are, non-biased. We're a third party. We're here to be your resource. We're here to be a guiding hand with you. So regardless of where you're at right now, we can meet you there, and then we can help you on that journey. And PPL is great because it offers holistic services, right? We want to serve the whole person. So if we're looking at your stuff and you want to buy a house and you're like, my income's not quite there to get the, what I want from a house, let's look into our career readiness services, right? Or maybe I'm just paying too much in rent right now to actually save for any type of down payment or anything like that. Well, maybe you qualify for affordable housing, and we have affordable housing. So being able to guide them to specific resources, whether it's within PPL or outside of that, I think there is a big knowledge gap that a lot of homebuyers don't know that this can be your first step, and we can help you through the journey. We're also focusing on post-purchase advising. So the wills, trusts, estates, that type of stuff, and getting that information out there, how important it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To get my stuff together. So yeah.
Take that first step. If that first step is just pulling your own credit report or reaching out to somebody you see here on the shows, or just committing to saving X amount of dollars per month, per paycheck.
Okay.
Take that first step and know what the second step is. There are a lot of resources in the community. There's no way for one person to know them all. So you just want to connect with folks that do know about the resources, that do know about the programs that can help you achieve your goal. Okay. Write those goals down. Put it on the refrigerator. You'll pass it every day. You'll know what it says even if you don't look right at it. So it'll be a constant reminder. But we don't get to where we want to be if we're not taking steps to get there.
Yeah. How do I follow up with
You said how you follow up?
How do I follow up? No.
You got wisdom.
No, I would say all of that is correct. And really good pearls of wisdom. But I would also say, like, when you first move into your home, take your time. It doesn't have to be what apartments look like now, or you know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah.
Take
Oh
your
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't have to be everything that you want it to be, but it's yours, so you can change it and make it yours. And that does not happen overnight. When I first moved in, I couldn't stand that cat smell, so I got new carpet. My living room didn't have enough lights, so I got recessed lights, and I threw some paint on the wall. Everything else is the same. But I will slowly get that together. Why? Because it's mine. And I think that's important, right? You don't have to be discouraged by the inside of the home.
Right.
You can change the cosmetics.
Right.
And also, you date the rate and marry the home.
Date the rate, marry the home.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out how to follow all that. You know, she said, you talking about following what he said.
If you look at the common theme for everything that we said, it's a process.
Yes. Yes.
Improvement is always possible.
Yes.
And it's a process.
Yes. You're right. You're right. You're right about that. It's interesting when you say about the home when we first moved in. I remember my mom saying, "Okay, her and my dad were like, we gotta take one room. We gotta take one room at a time. So we're gonna take one room at a time." And I was wondering, I was like, they fixed up all the rooms right at the time, and I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, remember me?" They hadn't fixed up my room yet. I was like, remember me? Remember me? Your loving son? Yeah, what's up with that? You know, and then they started laughing. They said, well, you're gonna help. And then I helped them, but it was just funny though. Everything looked good, and then I'd go upstairs to my room because I had upstairs. I said, I'd go upstairs to my room and go like this. Man, something's wrong with this picture. But I understood. They took it one room at a time too, so I remember that. Well, I wanna thank you all for coming. I hope this was as good for you as it was for me, because like I said, I'm a teacher and a photojournalist. I'm a sports photojournalist, and I'm learning a lot. My friends looked at me and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to interview some people about home ownership." They're like, "What, man? What are you? Your sport?" They're trying to tell me you don't limit yourself, right? So I said, "No, let's do this." All right.
You're gonna be a pro by the time this is over.
Right. I know by the time I'm done, I'll be giving all my friends advice, right? And they'll be looking at me like, "Man, what do you think you are?" I'm like, "Man, you better look at the podcast." I learned, but I do want to thank you all for coming. Hope to run into you sometime. But I definitely, if people are looking for home ownership, I know where to go, and I know where to send them. And congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Home ownership, man. Always good to see you, brother.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Mitchell Palmer McDonald, and please read us in the Spokesman-Recorder and our. Thank you.